Hello, class. Welcome to the second section of this topic colonialism and globalization. Where is the crisis? Welcome to this class. So, today we are going to explore the connection between colonialism, imperialism, the discourse of development, and so forth. So, during the Industrial Revolution, a strong current of thought viewed industrialization as a beneficial process of organic development and progress. Many economists still assume that industrialization increases production and income. They seek to create in developing countries a process like the one that first occurred spontaneously in 18th century Great Britain. They want to replicate that. But is it all efforts are in goodwill? Let us see. Britain used the notion of a white man's burden, as discussed in the previous class, to justify its imperialist expansion, and that France claimed to be engaged in a mission, civilization, a civilization mission in its colonies. So, deep down rootedly, it is European or Eurocentrism that mm, built the legitimization process to invade. So, this intervention philosophy and ideological justification for outsider to guide native peoples in specific directions. So, the way they have perceived development, is it effective? Was it effective? Is it right? As we can see, this whether in the name of development, imperialism, colonialism, uh, back in the head, the interventionist philosophy was really deep rootedly played by colonists, missionaries, governments, or development planners, and it has been same for the past 100 years. This belief is that industrialization, modernization, westernization, and individualism are desirable evolutionary advances, and that development schemes that promote them will bring long term benefits to local people is an ethno Eurocentric assumption. What Said would say that this is also Edward Said argued in the previous class we have discussed that this is also a process of colonization of the mind as well. What is best? Why industrialization is best? Why modernization is best? How you came to terms that these are the best policies? You need to think twice. The idea of economies is in itself also highly connected to this sort of interventionist approach. As Adam Smith advocated laissez faire economies as the basis of capitalism, government should stay out of its nation's economic affairs. Free trade, Smith argued, is the best way for a nation's economy to develop. There should be no restrictions on manufacturing, no barriers to commerce, and no tariffs. Especially since the fall of communism, there has been a revival of neoliberalism, another economic approach, philosophy, a cultural process which has been spreading globally. Around the world, neoliberal policies have been imposed by powerful financial institutions such as the IMF, World Bank, and the Inter-American Development Bank. But what are those? These institutions are created by the colony or the colonizers. You need to think. So, neoliberalism entails open, tariff and barrier free international trade and investment. Profits are shout through the lowering of costs, uh, whether through improving productivity, laying off workers, or seeking workers who accept lower wages. As you can see, what is the main thing that we are exporting in the world? We are exporting lower wages labor in the world. Previously, doing field work, searching for general features of human culture, these and documentation of cultural diversity, different theories, and the changes were focus of anthropology. After the World War II, along with the post-war planning of colonial empires, the origins of a global project of development can be found. So the connection with imperialism and colonialism to development is highly eminent. New project of official modernization and applied work of development reject the idea of academic world of theory. The idea of planned social changes gave birth to different development agencies, development projects, as well as disciplines like development studies. However, the concept of development didn't go unchallenged. The radical theories and the study of development in the context of an increasingly radicalized and politicized discipline, the wider institutional context was changing dramatically by 1970s. Mainstream development agencies developed and they placed a new emphasis on the basic needs of the poor and on the distinction between mere economic growth and real development. So, anthropological research method like intensive field work approaches uh, to different theories in studying human behavior and cultural diversity can contribute to the understanding of development process. The contribution is important and relevant as well as future development projects. Critical examination of some dominant development paradigm like tradition bound peasant models is also possible. Still, we may notice confusion whether anthropologists will work positively for the well being of the community in the question or for the well being of the development agencies. So, what is globalization? This is it a trend? Is it connected to development? Is it a economic policy, a realization, a philosophy, a practice? What are these? We can see in the cars people drive, the food people eat, the jobs people work, the clothes people wear. In many other ways, you can see uh, the effect of globalization all around us. However, we can see globalization refers to the trend towards a more integrated global economic system. Two key factors of globalizations are the globalization of markets, the globalization of production, the globalization of transportation, the globalization of connectivity, the globalization of connectivity using technology. The globalization of markets refers to the merging of historically distinct and separate national markets into one huge global marketplace. In many markets today, the tastes and preferences of consumers in different nations are converging upon some global norm. Burger joint, Pepsi Cola, Coca Cola, Levi's jeans, McDonald's. These are the examples that we are part of an integrated market as well. The globalization of production refers to the sourcing of goods and services from locations around the globe to take advantage of the national differences in the cost and equality of factors of production, labor, energy, and capital. The question is here, who are taking this advantage? To what extent this advantage, this profit has been shared? So the goal for companies is to lower their overall cost structure to improve their quality and functionality of their production and gain competitive advantage. The development of microprocessor has lowered the cost of global communication and therefore the cost of coordinating and controlling a global organization. Web-based transactions have grown from virtually zero in 1994 to 215 billion in 2007 in the United States alone, and internet usage is up from fewer than 1 million users in 1990 to 1.3 billion users in 2007. So commercial jet aircraft, super fighters, and the introduction of containerization have greatly simplified transshipment from one mode of transport to another. Uh, Communication through internet, global brands, global social media companies are all part of this whole globalized product. So this technological change has been happening. However, what are the implications of technological change for the globalization of markets? Low cost communications networks have helped create electronic global marketplace that we call digital marketplace. low cost transportation have enabled farms to create global markets, have facilitated the movement of people from country to country, promoting a convergence of consumer taste and preference. One of the key example of that, even physically when human beings were not able to travel far due to COVID-19, with the use of digital platforms, e-commerce sites, the digital market thrived in Bangladesh, and the services and goods also thrived in Bangladesh as well as all over the world. Globalization also marked the change of multinational enterprises. How? A multinational enterprise is any business that has productive activities in two or more countries. Since 1960s, there has been a rise on non-US multinationals. There has been a rise in mini multinationals. But if you look carefully, uh, Google or Facebook is not only a multinational enterprise but also a global enterprise, expanding rapidly all over the globe. The world order has also been changed. Today, many markets that has been closed to Western firms are open. The collapse of communism in Eastern Europe has created a host of export and invest opportunities. Economic development in China has created huge opportunities despite continued communist control. Free market reforms and democracy in Latin America have created opportunities for new markets and new source of materials and production. However, a more integrated global economy presents new opportunities for firms. It can also result in political and economic disruption that may throw plans into disarray. So, is the shift towards a more integrated and interdependent global economy a good thing for whom? So, many experts believe that globalization is promoting greater prosperity in the global economy, more jobs, and lower prices for goods and services. Other feels that the globalization is not beneficial at all. But anti-globalization protest, if you look at that in what are the concern of critics of globalization, they found that anti-globalization protesters now turn up at almost every major meeting of a global institution. Protesters fear that globalization is forever changing the world in a negative way. What are the negative ways that they are saying? Is globalization is not capable of satisfying others? Why not? Who are missing in this process? Is the exchange equal? What are the problems? We'll see in the next class. Take care.